do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Wherever I go, he goes.
When people ask you what happened here, tell them the North remembers.
And here we go.
What's up, everyone? I'm Zach Williamson. This is the Culture Crib podcast. I'm here today with Ross Cutsforth, my co-host. We're talking House the Dragon episode 5. It's House the Dragon episode 5. We are now halfway through the show, man. Halfway through season 1.
Yeah, it's so much has fucking happened in just
really
half the season.
Missed, and it all still feels like a prologue up until the end of this episode. Now it's the real show is about to start.
Chapter 1, basically, is getting into it. So do you think the Dance of the Dragons itself is going to start this season? Or you were saying last episode you thought that Viserys would last all the way up to like episode 9 potentially, or like towards the end.
You know, he's not looking so hot right now, but the trailer for the next episode, he's still alive. So
true,
he hangs around for another decade. But man, I was thinking you'd think with how this episode went, with all the nosebleeds and all the other stuff that was happening, that he was going to die sooner than later. But maybe they finally switched Maesters because that guy's a fucking idiot. And
the leeches have worked. It's okay. Just chill. Like, clearly they haven't worked that well.
Bro, I kind of have a theory. This isn't even my theory that I was going to tell you about. That I'll bring up way later. But what if the Maesters are working with Hightowers somehow to poison him or make him sicker, more sick faster? Because even that hint. And then there was a part in episode 1 where they showed Otto Hightower. I don't remember when in the episode it was, but they showed Otto Hightower riding to Old Town. So
there's a couple things that I think point in that direction. Their connection with the Hightowers because of Old Town. Yeah. And that's where the Citadel is. And in the books, early on in the books even, it says...
Are you saying, when you say in the books, are you talking about...
Blood and Fire, or Fire
and Blood, or are you talking about A Song of Ice and Fire? You're talking about Fire and Blood.
Yeah, Fire and Blood.
Okay, so just for future, let's like refer to that as the book, so that
the book,
we just don't get mixed up a bit.
Okay, well, in that it kind of alludes to the fact that the Maesters want the Targaryen dynasty to end because they want dragons to die out, because they think... Yeah,
that's true too. They say that even in Game of Thrones. I think they say that in A Song of Ice and Fire. They talk about how there's less dragons and it's better for it.
Yeah. Yep.
or none at all.
Because they think it helps, level out the balance of power.
Yeah. So that definitely feels, especially this episode, when that other guy suggested probably something that would work. And this is different. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but I do remember in Fire and Blood, there was a part where Rhaenyra has a different maester come help him after he cuts himself. I think it was after he cut himself to the bone on the Iron Throne, which is different than what happens in this show.
I think the maesters are also just old as fuck and stuck in their ways. We saw that when Sam went to the Citadel too. No one wanted him to perform something that was considered risky.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's 200 years later.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much has changed over that time as far as the Citadel.
Yeah, so that could be happening.
Kind of similar,
Or they're just they're complete fucking fool. At least that guy, that Maester, is a fucking idiot. And we've already seen him. He hasn't made a good decision this whole show. I mean, with Emma, how do you say her name? Emma?
Oh, Emma. Yeah.
Emma, yeah.
Oh, wait, Allison?
He hasn't... No, I'm talking about their mother for the C-section. Yeah. He hasn't been right about anything so far. Emma.
No.
Starts with an A.
Emma Aaron definitely has not made a fucking good decision, dude.
Yeah, we need to get that guy out of here.
This is all L's. And I the whole thing is him lasting this long and living for fucking 10 extra years is putting Rhaenyra's claim more and more at jeopardy, because the other potential heirs are getting older to where they're getting closer to ruling age.
Maybe.
I think if he would have died right before that 10 years or in a couple of years.
There's going to be other factors for why we can't talk about yet. But
yeah, but just going off of the show so far.
Maybe. We don't know yet. I don't know. I mean, this might be different than, we can't really speak to that yet, I don't think.
I'm just saying I think it presents a risk for
There's going to be
Rhaenyra's
things that Rhaenyra is going to do that are going to also put it, like, so we just can't talk about it yet.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying based on what the show has given us so far.
So what would you think would happen right now if he died in this episode?
Well, then Rhaenyra, I think, would automatically ascend to the throne and she would establish herself over the time. Because right now, Aegon's, 1 year old?
3 or 4.
Or just very young, toddler age.
Mm-hmm.
No one's he doesn't have as strong of a claim because he's so young. He's so far away from being even ruling age. So I think the sooner the better, because then she has a long time to establish herself as the ruler.
Maybe, bro, but maybe they wouldn't. Who knows what they would. It's an interesting thing to think about right now. What could happen? Would Daemon maybe just try to take the throne right now? I mean, there's so many things that maybe in this scenario that could happen.
Bro, there's
what's
so
his
much
name would become. I don't know. It's not something I really want to even think about because I don't know. That's a fair point, though. You're saying that the longer he lives, then maybe there's a better claim. But the whole time he's still going to be saying she's my heir.
Yes, that's true. Unless, I feel like as he's going to get older, he's going to.
We'll see. They could do it They could do this very differently. In the book, Fire and Blood, this is not a spoiler. He supports her claim until he dies.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like they're going to do that with this. I honestly feel like when he was wavering, it had already happened.
That's all in the past, you're saying?
Yeah, for the most part.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll see because they have diverged on certain points.
Even in this episode, he was saying if it's their daughter, or he said son or daughter, they will ascend the throne too. He is completely open to it being a woman completely. All right, everyone. So a quick little break for a word from our sponsors.
Okay, take us back to the beginning.
I mean, we're at the beginning. We didn't even talk about... So another thing that they changed straight up, or they confirmed, is that Daemon kills his wife.
Yeah.
Because that was right in the book. It never straight up said explicitly that he did it. So what they did is actually quite different. It's still possible that Daemon somehow low-key caused all those events, but he would have had to been far away. You know, he would have had to been still at war, and it wasn't that he was the one who actually killed her like they did in the show. In fact, what it actually says is that Lady Royce, so she does fall from her horse, and she cracked her skull upon a stone, but she's still alive for the next 9 days after that, before finally feeling well enough to leave her bed. And within an hour of leaving her bed, she collapsed and died. But during that time, she didn't accuse Daemon of anything. In fact, Daemon was actually still at this time in the book off doing the War of the Stepstones, because that was still going all the way up to this. And so he was on Bloodstone. And when he gets a message from Lord Baratheon, that's when he actually goes back and then tries to immediately claim everything that she owns.
Bro, she was fucking jabbing him. She didn't have to do that.
If she didn't say that last thing, which was interesting, that she is the second person now who has made comments or something about how he can't finish. So he must have some impotency with him. Because remember, he couldn't finish with the white lady. What is her? Masira, remember?
Or it's something like that. I don't know. Let me look it up.
Masira. He was having problems finishing with her too in the first couple episodes. It might have been the first episode.
Oh, it's Massaria.
Massaria.
I didn't catch that. Okay, that's interesting. So he has ED, maybe?
Something. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you're an incest baby.
Something's going to be wrong.
Something's got to be something up with you. And yeah, man, if she didn't make that last comment, I think the showrunner even said it, but that's how I felt too, that he actually didn't necessarily startle what the fuck was even going on there? I rewatched it and...
Yeah, I watched that again too.
Not even overreacted, but I don't know what happened at that moment. The horse just kind of freaked out, and it didn't feel like he was trying necessarily to scare the horse.
Yeah. Well,
although he just rolled with it.
Yeah, he did roll with it.
Yeah, and then he still was messing with her by stepping on her arm and stuff. But I didn't think he was going to kill her until she said that last thing. And that transition, bro, when it then showed the fish getting cut.
Very Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah, some very good editing there.
That reminded me a lot of the edit where Sam is performing the grayscale surgery.
Yeah,
on
you're
Jorah,
right, man.
and then it goes straight into the pie.
Yes, that's totally right, man. That's
nasty as fuck, bro.
Nice callback there. That's a good one. Yeah. So what else here? What else happened early on? Even Otto was making points to it. At one point, he was saying, "Dude, at some point you're gonna have to take a stand against them because for them to for sure secure her claim, like you're saying, she probably would have to kill the kids, get them out of the way."
Oh, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying the earlier she starts her reign, the more she's established herself before they even get close to ruling age. They can still live, but
we would have to look into the history of what happens if someone is a baby. I feel like even if they're a baby, they still name them king. It's definitely happened, at least in real life.
Yeah, it's a complicated scenario. If that baby is the sole heir, then I'm pretty sure there would be a ruling consort. So like Alicent would rule until that baby is 12 or 14 or whenever the ruling age is considered.
Yeah.
And then that child would take over. Anyway. But if the baby's like the second or third in line, then I guess it's totally a fictional scenario. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't need to think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Because the stuff was going to go down. But yes, I mean, that was a good scene too. Then it goes, what's the next scene after that? Ooh, okay. This is where I have a theory for you.
Okay, shit. Is this them going over to Driftmark?
Nope. So is it Larys or Larys? You think he did that on purpose?
I don't know.
Too? Larys, Littlefinger, Larys.
Littlefinger, Varys, combination of the two.
Larys, I feel because he's clearly playing. He's not clearly, but it seems like he's playing both sides just in case whoever ends up winning this. But okay, so a couple things with this guy. How do you think he knows about the tea?
The tea, yeah, I don't know.
So he's
the way he worded it.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of one of those guys who might have spies and stuff set up. But
exactly.
Continue with what you're going to say.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is the way he worded it. Because he was saying there's rumors around. It makes it seem like there was no fucking rumors. He probably just had spies that he pays that just saw it. Or he has connections with the maid.
What if he's the one who sent it there?
Oh, he's the one that sent it?
What if?
It's possible.
We never saw Viserys even acknowledge it this episode. So It's just, the king sent this was what the Maesters said. And in Game of Thrones lore, it's been used before that they've sent tea like this to highborn women to make them look like they were cheating or to start allegations. That's been something that's happened in Game of Thrones. I can't think of another incident, but...
Okay.
So that's like an option we have.
Definitely.
Here.
Yeah. I kind of like that theory. I think it's pretty strong possibility.
Yeah, but this is not my theory that I was going to tell you about, Ross. So this one...
Oh, it's not your theory yet? Okay.
Yeah, so that is one option, possibility, maybe. But my theory, I started looking into this guy's background and then the Strongs too. And so the Strongs, they hold Harrenhal, right? Which looks over the God's Eye, that big lake. And
which we know what happens there.
Well, a bunch of stuff's happened there. I think there's even been battles in the past. There was for sure a battle there in the past when they burnt down Harrenhal, but we don't need to talk about it.
There was even a battle between the Children of the Forest and the First Men there. I think that's where they signed the treaty.
I don't know if there was a battle there, but that's where they signed the treaty. They have the Isle of Faces, which is where all of them marked it up, and it's supposed to be a very sacred place. But it's very sacred to the Children of the Forest and that culture. And this guy, he seems like someone who would be really into that kind of stuff, Larys, because he knows that he can't fight with. He's got a club leg, so he knows he has to use his mind for that kind of stuff. But what I'm trying to get at is that with that history and the very first shot of this scene when he's introed here, they show the weirwood tree again. And I was looking into the history of the weirwood trees, and in Game of Thrones there isn't a weirwood anymore. It's an oak by that point. And to be honest, they might have even added this into the show. It might have not even ever been one in King's Landing, because wasn't King's Landing a city made
by Aegon?
Yeah.
But they had one in every
They had
every major
lots of
capital.
places had. You're right.
Yeah.
There was the Godswood. They had a lot of them. They were kept there. They did keep some. You're right, but I don't remember if there was ever one specified in King's Landing, and I don't think there was any werewood ever mentioned in Fire and Blood in King's Landing.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
and most of them were cut down at. It was around 700, maybe 400 years before Aegon's conquest. Oh wait, when was Aegon's conquest?
350 years before.
Yeah, so like 400 years before Aegon's conquest was when most of them in South Westeros were cut down.
Daenerys was born in like 288 AC.
Yeah, you're totally right. So it was like 300 years, and then the werewoods were cut down 400 years before Aegon came over to Westeros. But so what I was thinking, man, I've just been trying to think of what could be a big major twist in the show that wasn't in Fire and Blood is something that they made for the show. And this guy specifically, Larys. So the first shot there, it's of the werewood tree. We know that Greenseers, they can look through the eyes of werewoods. And this guy knows a lot of stuff. And the conversation that Alicent and Rhaenyra had about Daemon and all that happened right in front of this fucking tree.
In the Godswood.
Yes. And Greenseers, another guy with disabilities that we know that was a Greenseer.
Jojen.
Well, Jojen, but Jojen was a green dreamer. He could dream, or it was a different term.
Okay. Yeah.
He wasn't a Greenseer, but he had dreams where he could see things. But
damn, I thought you were for sure going to say Jojen. Wait, who are you talking about? Bran?
Wasn't Bran a Greenseer?
Well, he was the third-eyed raven, so he could do fucking everything.
Yes, but dude, would there be a three-eyed raven at this point in history? There would be, right?
Yeah, I think it's continuous, right? There's a three-eyed raven at all times.
And the Strongs they have the blood of the first men, so they could potentially be Greenseers. My theory is, what if this guy is a Greenseer, or he can warg, and what's the other thing? A skin crawler? And there's all these scenes where they show rats walking around and spying and stuff. So,
and even the rat at the wedding at the end, there's a fucking rat crawling around.
We can't talk about what that one specifies. That's some foreshadowing for, it could be this too, but it's very clear foreshadowing for something later that we can't talk about, because on this pod we have decided we're not going to talk about the future. We're only talking about stuff now.
Stuff that the show gives us.
Yeah. Stuff, because I don't want to spoil it for the listeners. But this thing right here we're talking about with Larys, this isn't anywhere in the book. What do you think about that theory that maybe he is spying on them and he's potentially a Greenseer? And I don't know. What do you think? There's probably more details that I'm forgetting that can make this work. But I just feel like when they added this tree even too, it's for a reason. And we got to see why it gets removed too at some point.
Somebody finds out about it and they're like, no more Greenseers. We don't fuck with that.
We know this kind of character, though. This guy is going to be that Littlefinger style, Varys style character. He has their own motives, which makes me think back. We never really got to see what Varys's true motives were in Game of Thrones. Sort of disappointing.
Don't go.
We can talk about.
Don't touch that.
I know. I'm sorry.
I feel What even is the three-eyed raven's role at this point? And if you're a three-eyed raven, would you strictly adhere to that role, or is there room to break out of what you're supposed to be doing?
Well, three-eyed raven, the whole rule is you just sort of watch, right? Observe. So I don't know if he's the three-eyed raven, but I was more
just
saying, what if he's a Greenseer?
Okay.
Yeah, or a skin crawler, possibly both somehow. But I think if you're both, you'd probably have to be the three-eyed raven. I probably should have looked more into details, but it was just sort of like a idea I had last night when I was rewatching, and they just have a very specific shot too. And when he first starts talking, it's still a shot with the werewood in the background.
Yeah.
His first dialogue. And he's talking about, there's even what his dialogue too has so many meanings when he's saying, this tree, it's here and it shouldn't be here. It's the same thing as like a werewood tree. It probably shouldn't be there. Same thing as Alicent. She shouldn't be she's here thriving in this family of Targaryens. And I don't know, bro. So I was just thinking that could be a really cool twist that I don't know if a lot of people would see that one coming.
I think that would be there logically. Like, I think that theory makes a lot of sense. Now all that remains is all that remains is just to see how it plays out. But everything connects as far as I can tell.
And the alternate theory that he could have been the one to plant the tea to get all this going.
Yeah. He's definitely up to some shit, dude.
Mm-hmm. Which is so interesting because his dad is Viserys' number one guy.
Yeah.
And the other strong guy is going to be a big character going forward. And it's just interesting, dude. I love this kind of stuff. And even his intro was so on purpose when back in that episode when he's sitting there among all the ladies of Westeros, listening to all their secrets and gossip and stuff too. Everything he does is intentional. So
just trying to collect the info.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about him yet. His methods are very, I guess underhanded, but I don't know whether his intentions are good or not. It seems like he's probably just out looking for himself right now.
Yeah, I think he's just going to probably play both sides a little bit as it goes forward.
Because that's the difference between...
He can slime his way into.
He's going to just squeeze in there, baby. He's just going to oil up and squeeze in. This slimy guy. That was the difference between Varys and Littlefinger, though, for me, is they both use the same methods, but Varys' intentions seems more like he had the best interest of the people in hand, whereas Littlefinger was very individually focused, and he just wanted to rise as high as he possibly could, no matter who he had to fuck over.
Yeah, Varys' book version might be a little different, but a lot of characters in the book are way more gray than what we ended up seeing in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Okay, so what do we got next? Next scene, just the whole marriage proposal. I guess we don't need to talk about that. We can skip over. You can really see, though, that the cousins love each other, Viserys and Rhaenys.
Yeah.
There's not really any animosity, it feels like. Because she even says it herself. We don't need to talk about that. That
just when she comes through the doors, her face lights up and she sounds excited to see him. And then when they're talking, she doesn't really say anything super disrespectful about him, even when he's not in the room.
Well, she knows that something's definitely wrong with him.
Yeah.
And shout out her and Corlys. Actual functional relationship.
I know.
It's the only one we have at this point.
That's
in the story, dude.
Oh, and then there's also that direct parallel between Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra. How it went from seeing them talking about their arrangement to next scene, Rhaenyra and Joffrey talking about the outcome of their arrangement, and then switches directly to Rhaenyra and Criston talking about the outcome of their arrangement and showing all of those. Just, it did a really good job of setting up all of those character motivations going into the wedding.
Yeah.
That was nothing really. Like
only last thing I wanted to say on that was I cracked up when I saw Corlys admiring the crab feeder's mask. He's just like staring at it as a part of his treasure collection.
Oh wait, I didn't see that. Wait, what? When is that?
I can't remember the timestamp, bro.
It doesn't really matter. That's cool though. Fuck. Damn, he kept that shit.
Mm-hmm.
What a freak. What a weirdo. Got grayscale on it. What the fuck, man?
This kind of ties, and I know this is like leading it more into the final scene, but Fabien Frankel was talking about that scene with Rhaenyra on the bridge. And you know what? For people who are trying to defend Ser Criston, he still showed himself after she denied him. He said he was only doing it because he thought that it would get him his honor back, basically, is what it came across to me as after he said all that. But he was saying, too, that, and this is an interesting thing from the actor, he was saying that if Rhaenyra had presented it differently and had even offered to help him get out of there, get to Bravos without staying, then stuff might have gone down differently. But she keeps him there and keeps him at the wedding. Yeah.
I saw that too. I think it's because he's a very honor-driven character. And to him, the way that she presented it was very demeaning to him. It was like a spit in the face.
He's not a highborn or anything, so really being this is all he has, and it's his fault. He threw it away. The actor says that too. He says he has no one to blame but himself. So all the people who think he got Me Too'd, we need to stop that, because the actor fucking straight up said, nah, bro, he wanted to do it, and it, he regretted it after.
Yeah.
But that's on him.
Yeah, he fucked up.
But yeah, he said the actor too said that they talked about that scene for 7 months, prepping about it. And he was saying, well, even with it, he would need help getting off the armor. He said, because knights have squires. It takes a long time to get all that. And so presentation was very well done, is what he thought.
The sex scene they were preparing for 7 months?
Yeah, he said he was texting back and forth with Millie Alcock and the director about it for pretty much ever since he read the script for it.
Just to make sure like everyone was on the same page.
Yeah, and just how they're both young people, both young characters. So he's just saying it wouldn't be the sexiest thing ever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He did fold like a beach chair to the queen. Like, she didn't even say anything.
Bro,
he just
was
spills the beans. I was
that
like,
was
bro,
so dumb.
what are you doing?
Didn't even ask her for specifics.
No, man. Didn't even wait. I had a feeling they were going to do that when Allison was sort of dancing around what she was going to say.
Same.
Do you think she got so mad because she's jealous? Because I remember in the first episode, she kind of blushed when
he came up.
When Ser Criston came up, yeah.
I mean, maybe. Also, I thought that conversation would have cleared up any animosity between Allison and Rhaenyra, honestly. But it seemed like she was fucking more angry at her than ever after
she
that.
Still lied on her mom to her that she did anything that night.
I know, but from my point of view, it seemed more like she was just mad about her having sex with Daemon specifically, not really the sex part. It seemed more that it was with Daemon. So I thought,
maybe she's just mad because, man, she has to bang an old ass crusty king, and she gets to go bang fucking knights.
This hot ass Dornish knight,
for real.
Yeah,
that's another thing too that Fabien says too, that he's really such an outsider here. All these people he's a Dornish man. He's from the edge of the Stormlands where really the Stormlands connect to Westeros and then to Dorne. And he just has this whole outsider approach to everything there too, you know? And then on top of that, he's being used as a pawn in a lot of it.
Bro, he was very forward with his proposal to Rhaenyra too. I was surprised. It's like, damn, he's just coming right at it.
Very, what's his name, who presented to Arya Stark?
Oh, Gendry?
Gendry.
Yeah. He's like, let's run away together.
No, swinging, man.
Bro, yeah. They fucked one time and it
really was that he just wanted to restore his honor. Then right after that, he immediately freaks out about how he was like, that was the only way I thought I could get my honor back. So it didn't even feel as intentional.
And it's going to be interesting to see where this character goes, because in that same interview with Fabien Frankel, he was kind of alluding to some things that are going to happen in the second half of the season about how audiences, just people watching, might not see him the same going forward.
Here, let's just go over the whole wedding scene altogether. What do you think about it? Presentation, overall. It was like Daemon coming in, everything. Great scene?
Yeah, it was a good scene.
My only complaint, I think, with the whole what went down. So now we can talk about what the difference is between Ser Criston and with Joffrey. So in the book, listeners, Joffrey still gets killed by Ser Criston, but it's in the middle of the tournament for the wedding. And he does it in the tournament because he knows that he can get away with it. You can get away with killing someone in the tournament. So that, to me, how is he going to get away with this?
I don't know, because I was thinking the same thing.
There's even in the fight, they toss Rhaenyra. Is that his name? The prince? The guy it's his fucking wedding, and he gets tossed around by some guys, and he gets punched by Ser Criston.
Yeah.
How does he get away with all this stuff? I don't even believe he got away with getting out of the crowd.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because there's a lot more gray area in the tournament setting where it's chaos and violence is clearly expected. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even die right away either. He dies a week later.
6 days later, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this, beating his fucking face into a pole. So, and there's a whole crowd of people all around him watching him.
Yeah, maybe they can pull... Oh, he pulled a knife on him, and no one knew how it started anyway, and he said the other guy's dead situation, so you can't really...
take his testimony. There's no...
Yeah, it's just kind of the Kingsguards, what they said goes, which we've probably seen that happen in Game of Thrones too. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, who knows? Unless he just gets the queen to somehow pardon him. But bro, I mean, that part to me was, I just couldn't see him getting away with that after with Lenore and with the Velaryons, that house and everything, you know, like that's some fucking straight disrespect. And it's disrespectful to Viserys and Rhaenyra, everyone. How does it fly? I guess it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that, with the time jump too and everything.
Especially with the connection that Rhaenyra has to Joffrey. I don't know. He's not going to let that shit go. But
maybe he could not let that go. But I'm saying That's a good point. I guess there could be too that a lot of people see this as a situation that's been resolved because they were in love, but people didn't want people to talk about that now that he's married to Rhaenyra. Maybe Corlys could see it as that way. He wasn't really a fan of the situation.
No, yeah. I think Alicent is going to definitely bail him out, though. Oh, he's about to fucking commit seppuku, and then she was like, no, chill.
I know, that was the part where I was like, do it, dude. I was one time, let's change the book.
Daemon and Rhaenyra, right before that fight starts, the sexual tension between them is like insane.
Planning their wedding at her wedding.
Yes. And how she sees Daemon versus how she sees Criston is so different. A love triangle. Criston came to her with the same proposal that she gave to Daemon at the wedding. She rejected Criston, but then she was so desperate to run away with Daemon.
I feel like she's taunting him. I don't think she thought...
You don't think that's real?
That he was going to do that. It's more like, all right, man, you want me? Fight through all the Kingsguards. Take me to Dragonstone, marry me, fuck everyone. But I don't think that he thought she would do that. And even that's why when he grabbed her, it was tension there too, but it's also, don't try me.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
I would say before, I think she would make jests at him like that. But after what happened in the brothel, I think it was more real.
Well, she definitely makes jests like that. She even said,
yeah,
marriage is a political thing, I hear. That was throwing his own words back at him.
Yeah.
Patty, again, very good as Viserys. There was even a part too where he said, how are they going to remember me? And he doesn't know this. And when he says maybe it's best not to know, because he's not going to know what's going to go down after he dies. But also he is remembered. He's written positively about in history, which is like interesting to see now that, stuff was not nearly as good as they made it out in history at all.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the perspective of two women through all this, and it's definitely, they're being used as pawns. It's not as positive relationship as they tried to make it out to be in the history books.
And he kind of fumbled the bag. He said everything he's saying, dude. He's saying, I want to herald in a second age of dragons. And what ended up, came out of his reign is so different from that.
It's just the story of everything he's done so far, bro. He tries to make everything so grand, even with the hunt. I mean, they said that too, but then also ultimately what's going to happen, it's the same that's been happening. Poor Viserys.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I have anything else, man. I told you my couple theories, and
yeah, I like those theories.
What do you think? Best episode of the show so far? On IMDb, it's currently the highest rated episode. Everything else is around like 8.8, and this one's at 9.1.
Damn. Yeah, I think I don't know which one my favorites were. This one, dude, they're all like on the same level. They're all just so good. The cinematography, directing, acting, plot,
those shots on the beach were so cool.
Yeah, man. Some of the shots even in episode 1, some of the shots at Dragonstone were insane. They were so good. Like this
episode 2.
Or episode 2, yeah.
So no fan questions this week, but we might have some DMs. Ooh. Okay, so Taylor Beagley, he says, hopefully you can bring this up on the pod. That episode, last overhead shot of the episode is so good. The fallen crown and everybody leaning in from that angle as if they're trying to put their head into it. Top tier imagery. And the only two people who aren't are Rhaenyra, and that's a fucking good catch, bro.
Damn, that is good.
Shout out Taylor Beagley. Yeah, I did not catch that, and that is fucking good. Everyone else leaning in. Yep.
What timestamp is that at?
It's at 1:00:06.
Oh, okay. When Viserys
collapses.
Faints. Yeah. Even Corlys, like they all are.
Shout out Taylor Beagley, bro. You should write some fucking analysis of Game of Thrones, because I did not catch that one.
That's a nice catch.
Yeah. Okay. So other than that, that's okay. Good thing I checked our DMs. All right, everyone. So that's our podcast this week. Make sure to follow us at Culture Crave, at Culture Crave Pod, at Thrones_facts. Those are all on Twitter. If you got any fan questions or comments, you can DM us on any of those, and I'll try to remember to bring them up every week. And we'll be back next week doing more House of the Dragon. And hopefully we'll get Luke back next week, and then we'll do Rings of Power too.